President Trump signing an executive order loosening restrictions on some psychedelic drugs.
Joe Rogan just walked into the Oval Office, stood right next to Donald Trump, and smiled for the cameras. And the internet is absolutely losing it. Because just 2 weeks ago, this same Joe Rogan was on his podcast calling MAGA supporters, and we quote, dorks. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova has already publicly torched him. Critics are calling him spineless. So what changed? Why is the biggest podcaster on the planet suddenly cozying up to the same crowd he was trashing a few days ago? Stay with us, because the receipts on this one are wild, and we're laying every single one of them out. If you love watching the mask slip off your favorite celebrities, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. We drop these breakdowns daily. Here's exactly what went down. President Trump held a White House event to sign an executive order on the therapeutic benefits of psychedelics. Think psilocybin, MDMA, the whole movement Rogan has championed for years on his podcast.
We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%.
Cameras rolling, press in the room, full Oval Office spectacle, and standing right there behind the resolute desk, Rogan himself. Now on paper, this should be a feel-good moment. Rogan's been pushing psychedelic therapy for veterans for over a decade.
I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration.
He's interviewed researchers, doctors, and combat vets about it dozens of times. So in theory, of course, he'd show up. But the timing is everything, because Rogan has spent the last several months publicly tearing this exact administration apart on his own show on every major issue. And that's where this story stops being about psychedelics and starts being about something much bigger. Let's roll the receipts. Receipt 1, January of this year. Rogan goes on his podcast with Senator Rand Paul and openly compares immigration and customs enforcement to the Gestapo, asking if America is really going to start asking people for their papers. He calls the deportations effing crazy and says he thought ICE was only going to go after criminals. Receipt 2, March. Rogan sits down with author Michael Schellenberger and questions Trump's decision to strike Iran, saying the war seems so insane, given what Trump campaigned on. He says Trump supporters feel betrayed. Receipt 3, also March. In a now infamous clip, Rogan calls MAGA voters uninteresting, unintelligent people, and yes, literally calls them dorks.
Here's the thing. Like, first of all, America is great. Make America greater, I'm down. But make America great again, and then it becomes a movement of a bunch of fucking dorks, because a lot of them are dorks. A lot of them, these really weird, uninteresting, unintelligent people that have got something they cling to, and there's a lot of people that are just real genuine patriots, and they're all lumped into this one group, and you got to accept the dorks too. F that.
Receipt 4, just last week. Rogan openly mocks Trump's now deleted Truth Social post showing himself as a Jesus-like figure healing the sick. Rogan laughs on air, joking about AI God and Jesus being a doctor. And now, just days after that mockery, Rogan is standing behind that same president in the Oval Office, smiling. You can see why the internet has questions. The reaction was instant and absolutely brutal. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova fired the loudest shot, publicly calling Rogan a right-wing coward and saying she thought he had more guts than this. But she was just the start. Sources on social media piled on within hours, with the word spineless trending in conversations about Rogan. Critics accused him of flip-flopping, of trading his independence for White House access, of being just another celebrity who folds the moment power calls his name. One viral post summed it up perfectly. You can't call MAGA dorks on Monday and shake the president's hand on Friday and expect anyone to take you seriously. Other commentators went further, calling him a gatekeeper, accusing him of representing the very system he claims to challenge. And then came the audience side. Reports suggest longtime Rogan fans are openly threatening to unsubscribe, calling this the moment they finally walk away. Whether that translates to actual numbers, we'll see. But the vibe shift online is real and it's loud. To really understand why this hits so hard, you have to rewind. In October 2024, Rogan sits down with Trump for a 3-hour interview on the Joe Rogan Experience. The episode breaks records, racks up tens of millions of views, and is widely credited with helping Trump win over young male voters. Days later, Rogan officially endorses Trump on the eve of the election. He becomes, for many, the unofficial king of the so-called podcast bro movement that helped deliver the White House. Fast forward to 2026, and Rogan has been one of Trump's most consistent celebrity critics on actual policy. He's gone after the wars, the deportations, the spectacle. So when he shows up smiling in the Oval Office now, fans on both sides feel something. Trump fans see a guy who finally came home. Rogan loyalists see a guy who folded. So what's the real story? Insiders are floating 3 theories. Theory 1, Rogan genuinely cares about psychedelic therapy, especially for veterans, and he showed up because the policy itself is something he's pushed for years. Pure issue alignment, nothing political. Theory 2, my sources whisper this is about access. Trump openly told reporters last month that he and Rogan had spoken about Rogan's criticisms and that he thought Rogan still likes me. Some are speculating a quiet truce was negotiated behind the scenes. Rogan softens the optics. Trump keeps the biggest podcaster on the planet from going full enemy. And theory 3, the most cynical one, Rogan saw the polling. Young men's approval of Trump is collapsing. Rogan's brand depends on staying relevant to both sides. Showing up at the White House lets him keep one foot in MAGA world while still criticizing Trump on his podcast tomorrow, The Ultimate Hedge. And Rogan isn't alone in this awkward dance. And Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz, Sean Ryan, all the podcasters who helped Trump win in 2024 have spent months publicly distancing themselves. Schultz literally said he felt duped, but none of them showed up in the Oval Office. That's what makes this different. Rogan didn't just stay quiet. He showed up and smiled. So what do you think? Is Joe Rogan a sellout, a peacemaker, or just a guy who really loves psychedelics? Drop your verdict in the comments, hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next one.